Let's go. Damn, this thing goes. Well, hey there, YouTube biker people. I am on a quick test ride once again on the Honda Hornet 750. I've already tested the GSX-8s Suzuki, so this will be quite interesting to see the difference. I've also tested the Honda Transalp, which I really liked. So I guess the primary for this, because I really like the Transalp, is what the quick shifter's like. So be interesting to see. And my legs are really quite bent up. I don't think this bike is really meant for someone of my height. Gearbox is nice and slick. I haven't tried the quick shifter yet. Clutch is nice and light as well. Now we just need to get past this traffic, baby. And the engine is really, you can feel it running, but it's a smooth, real smooth engine. I don't get the tyre roar that I heard on the Transalp. And obviously this has got, although the brakes on the Transalp they actually were pretty good, and but this has got radial calipers, which is better. Ooh. I like the quick shifter. Just did a couple of blips down there, so that's nice. It's a really accessible bike, this. I guess it's nice and low, what a lot of people want. I don't really want it this low, but it's really easy to get on with. If you use a clutch, it's light. Gearbox is slick, easy to change. It's really quick turning. I heard about that because of the 160 rear tyre. Yeah, really snappy downshift on the quick shifter. I like it. Performance, can't comment yet because these cars are in the way. It certainly doesn't have the torque of the Suzuki GSX-8s. I'm going to call it the 8s. Okay, it's a real tongue twister, that. The downshifts on the gearbox, although on the 8s also has a good, nice gearbox. From what I've noticed so far, the downshifts are more snappy and better on this. You know when you can't remember the way? Yes, all the time. Suspension's nice and compliant. You can't adjust it, but it's a good place to be. The seat is nice and comfortable. On this one, it's got an accessory piece on the back, which is keeping me in more of a position. Man, it is smooth. Such a smooth quick shifter. Really smooth. My notice is that you just don't have access to the torque. I think the main torque of this bike comes in at about 6,000, which is it pointing straight up on the rev counter, which I'm hoping we can get past this. You can also adjust the response of the quick shifter. I haven't done that and I don't know how to do it, but it's nice to have if you're not happy with it. But so far, and say the main point of me testing this bike is to see what the quick shifter's like. Now let's give the brakes a dab. Really nice, progressive, strong, great feel brakes as well. So all up is sort of as expected. It's a tighter kind of package than the Transalp because of the less travel suspension, not as much legroom, obviously, seat height and suspension height. And the handling, although the handling on the Transalp is really good considering this is obviously a lot quicker handling. Okay, let's test the acceleration. I'm in third gear now. Make second. Go. Good progression. It's not pulling my arms off, but it's got really good progression, a really nice gear change, every kind of rev that I've tried, and the engine's smooth, which is one major thing better than the Suzuki 8s. More so the V-Strom 800 DE, which I've also tried. The engine gets really rough, I found, really vibey higher up in the revs. And you know, if you're cruising along on a longer trip, I think that would get on your nerves, whereas this, it doesn't have the torque, gets going later in the revs, the engine's altogether more smooth, and it's got plenty of performance. You just have to wait that little bit longer to have the revs go up a little bit more. The Suzuki's a lot more instant, more of a punch. This has the aftermarket exhaust pipe on, which sounds nice, not too loud, but gives it a nice sound. And that again is a lot more characterful over that on the 8S, which is really quite muted. You can't hear the engine much at all. So overtakes easy. It's so versatile, this engine, so smooth. I would highly recommend the quick shifter on this Honda, whether it be the Transalp or the Hornet. Oh, England, of course. It started to rain, but what can you do, eh? So handling is going to be a little bit difficult to test that, but my overall impression is it's just very predictable and very sharp handling. Yeah, you can't adjust the suspension, but it gives a nice compliant ride. It doesn't ping you off of the bumps too badly, and it's not too hard. A good compromise. And the instruments and the clocks, very comprehensive and very easy to read. If I was a shorter person and I wanted a characterful, nice performing, really affordable bike, I would really consider this. I really would. Yes, no bling, not too much bling on it. The looks are a little bland, very much like the 500, but there's a lot more balls to this than the 500, that's for sure. And the clocks, the display, the TFT are infinitely better, and the adjustability with the engine maps and everything that you have is great, and having the quick shifter is game changer. Totally happy going along at 30 miles an hour in fourth gear. Really relaxed ride. And if you want to get going, if you ever get the chance to get going, performance is there. Let it rev out a bit. Alright, that's the sign I want to see. Come on! Actually, we're in standard. What the hell am I doing? Let's try sport. This quick shifter is awesome, really good. It's actually one of the best quick shifters I think I've used. It's reliably changed up and down every time I've used it so far. Yeah, my feel is that at higher speeds, literally on one road, it's not exactly very scientific, I think the suspension might show itself up a little bit if you're really pushing this bike, but yeah, for average riding, I think it would be, yeah, it's a really nice, not too jolty suspension, so that's good. The quick shifter is the thing that really brings this bike into a great place. teeter around that little roundabout there. Teeter! This is a lovely engine. Down, down, down. Brilliant. Lovely gear changes. Comparing this Hornet to the 8S Suzuki, I didn't think I'd prefer this. In some ways, I think this actually has the edge. They're both really great, but I think the fact that I can hear the engine and get a feel from the sound of the engine on this, that could be remedied with a different pipe on the Suzuki. Yep. And this does have an aftermarket pipe, but I think this sounds, even as standard, better than the Suzuki. The quick shifter in the lower torque part of the engine on the 8S, the quick shifter and the performance is great, but higher up on the 8S it's not as nice, the engine in the revs, and the downshifts are not quite as nice. This quick shifter feels a lot nicer and the engine feels smoother on this Hornet. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing really wrong with the 8S at all. It's just yeah, this just sort of has the edge, in my opinion. And this is a lot quicker turning than the 8S. There we go. This thing handles, I mean, it tips in like I don't know how far it will lean. Bloody hell, it really gets around like a rat up a drain pipe round a roundabout. So at low revs, how's the quick shifter? Third gear, 36 miles an hour. Yeah, fine. Down. You could just pick a gear you want, just go up and down, brilliant. Slight little shunt forward with the gear change when you're at lower revs in this mode, whatever mode the gear, whatever mode the quick shifter is in, because you can choose from soft, medium and hard how it changes the gears. And actually, much as my legs are kind of tucked up, and this bike most likely looks quite funny with me on it, it's really comfortable. I really do like it. I'm in sport mode. It's not, some people have said it's a bit snatchy on the throttle. I'm not finding that personally. I find it very controllable. But if you do want, you can just change the mode really easy, just with a push of the mode button. It just changes it with a closed throttle. Great. It does remind me of the KTM 790 Duke. Obviously that had a bit more power and a lot less reliability. But it does remind me of the Duke, and that is not a bad thing at all. A Duke with reliability, brilliant. For the money, 6,999. Yeah, add 240 quid for the quick shifter, unless you can get a deal with your friendly dealer. This is a right hoot of a bike. You know what? Let's try and beat this Polo. A metaphor for life. If you overtake a Polo, there's always a Mondeo waiting for you. No, I mean, I was really impressed and really liked the Transalp. The only problem, I didn't have my camera when I tested that, unfortunately. The only problems I would say I have with that is that I don't want a 21-inch front wheel. I would never take it off-road, which compromises the handling a bit, although it was very good handling considering it had a 21-inch front wheel. I don't want tube tyres, spoke wheels, don't want them. Other than that, and the absence of cruise control, which I wish it had, I thought that was excellent. And if Honda brings out a sort of a Transalp with a 19-inch front cast wheel, that would be very high on my list. And say with a Transalp and with this Hornet, I didn't expect to like these bikes as much as I do. I did not. I thought it was Suzuki all the way. And not to take anything away from the Suzuki, because I thought the 8S and the V-Strom fantastic, but there's some things I like about the Hondas a little bit more, namely the smoothness of the engine and the quick shifter. Handles like a mountain bike. One negative on this, which I'm most likely going to see when I look at my back in the mirror, is that the weather protection at the back of this bike is cheap as, and it is not very good, really. I think the mud and water slings right up the back of this, and it all over the rider, and all over the shock, and all over the place. That is a big negative of this, which the Transalp has got a lot better sort of muck protection at the back end. This is very sparse. You don't get a hugger, and you get in bad weather you get the mud and water all over yourself. Now all that's left to do really is to try and get a little tiny bit of dual carriageway to see what it's like at, you know, higher speeds for a bit of time. Let's go. 60 already, 60 miles an hour through the wind. Really smooth engine, really smooth. It's really effortless, doing 4,000 revs at 60, just under 4,000. You can cruise like this all day. Let's go down a gear. Open her up. I mean, yeah, you definitely really get that whoosh further up in the rev range. It's not instant. 75, yeah, there's wind, it's a naked bike, but it's so smooth, the air is smooth. The wind is holding me up, but yeah, there's nothing adverse about the bike at all. Really smooth through the air, and 75, the engine is smooth, slick and smooth. This engine is an absolute peach. 70 miles an hour, just over 4,000 revs, which is very nice and relaxed. And you know, if you could get a bit of luggage on this, if the Transalp wasn't for you, I don't see why you couldn't do a bit of touring on this as well. Because when you get to them twisties, man, this would be fun. So, thanks for joining me. This has been the Tour Biker for a little test on the Honda Hornet 750. You should definitely check out this bike, because it's for this money, it's an absolute winner. I'll see you in the next video.